Here we go. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are up. And it's lights out, and it's go, go, go here in China. Joe gets away well. That's exactly what he needed to do on those soft compound tires. Mew staying in second place. Sammy, is he going to go around the outside of the Williams? No, not quite. And it looks like everyone's gotten away nicely. Let's get Valkyrie round onto the grass, and there's a bit of front wing flying around there. I don't know what car that's from, but that's perfect for Joe. He gets away well. And here we go then. Into the first sector split, as Sammy on those hards is going to be vulnerable to Jerome for a little bit, as the two Alpha Tauris side by side. Rabzog going in very deep, and the Eco's round. Get Valkyrie, taps Eco, and Eco is round. And we will need to be looking at who is going to have a missing front wing. And there is a missing front wing on the Mercedes of Nick Fuhrman. His race has started horribly here today. Absolutely horribly. Someone else might have some damage as well. Stevie does have some damage. He's missing a front wing and play, and that is not what you want to see. Mostly because it's more work for me to write the tickets that Stevie's gonna do. Well, as we now head down the back straight, Joe with a 1.3 second lead already. He's absolutely dominating. Jerome Hodgson in the Red Bull gonna go for the move on the Alpine of Sammy. On the medium tires, he should have every advantage in the book, but Sammy's staying with him into the final corner. Final 2 corners into turn 14. Jerome Bakes later around the outside goes the Red Bull. What a move. That is incredible. And Wacky Lauda might be looking for a move on his teammate now as well. As Jerome Hudson goes very wide in the final corner. That's incredibly wide. And that's not what you want to see, because now Sammy has gone back for him. Might go back for it in turn 1. Not quite. Decides to stay behind for now. Might sneak it down the inside here, Sammy. This is going to be brave. 2 cars usually don't go too wide there. Sammy backs out. Not quite what he would have wanted there, but does lose the place eventually to Jerome Hudson. One thing you do not want to see in your mirrors is a hungry Sammy Joe, because he will get past you. And he's looking to get past Jerome here. That's the worst camera angle I've ever seen. Here are the possible race strategies. A 2-stop or a 1-stop possible. Powered by AWS. Sammy Joe now goes for the move. He's side by side with Jerome Hudson into the final corner. Jerome outbreaks him a little bit, but down the inside goes Sammy Jote. Jerome gets the better exit, but they're still side by side in the fast corner. Jerome backs out of it, knows better than to do that, and now DRS will be enabled, so these two will keep fighting, and will keep fighting immediately. Down the main straight goes Jerome. They're side by side in turn 1. As they sweep across, Jerome is ahead, but Sammy's got that inside line into turn 2. And they are going to make it. And they are going to make it fine. And this is great racing from the pair of them. And Jerome does stay ahead for now. But now DRS will be enabled, remember. So everything is now up for grabs. Sammy down the inside. That's a... Oh, that is a wild move. And Jerome has to go off the track. He was forced off the track by Sammy. And Sammy has got his elbows out now. And will be ahead. Joe already 4 seconds in the lead. He's absolutely clocked out, and he's doing exactly what he needs. He's justifying the soft start by getting ahead. Getting so far ahead indeed. Oh, as we cut back right to Sammy. Hitting Jerome in the back, and that might be detrimental for the race of the Alpine, because he's now out of DRS. He's over a second behind. We don't see any visible damage, but that could be from wing damage for the Alpine, and he's now over a second behind the Red Bull, and now he's going to be attacked by his teammate and Cornish Mantis. Now Sammy is the one leading the train. Jerome is 1.9 seconds ahead as Cornish Mantis looking for the move in sector 2. Oh my goodness, as Sammy goes a little bit wide there. Wacky Lauda, ooh, big snap for Wacky Lauda there, and these guys pushing each other along in this sector 2. And Cornish Mantis knowing he can't go for the overtaking now. Now the DRS detection point is here. Sammy will not have DRS. Cornish will have DRS down this back straight. And now he can go for the move. Now he can go for the move. He's going to be deploying his ERS down this back straight to make the move on the Alpine. Sammy knows this is inevitable. Going down the inside goes Cornish Mantis and the McLaren up into P4. As they still are side by side through turn 14, but Sammy gets forced off, and Cornish with his elbows out does get the move. And Sammy enters the pit lane, so he must have front wing damage. He must have front wing damage, and he's he has to convert this now into a 2-stop. As Stevie and Nick keep battling it out. This is very, very lovely racing from the two. Oh, Stevie gets a big snap. And Nick now looking for the move on the main straight. He will have DRS and the better tires. DRS enabled now for the Mercedes as he heads down into turn 1. Mercedes versus Mercedes power as Nick chooses to stay behind. Joe still 9.5. He's growing the gap by almost a second per lap on this race, and there's a safety car now. What's happened? Oh, there's Alfa Romeo without a front wing. Get Valkyrie. There's a full safety car. And now Joe has absolutely nailed it not going in the last lap, and he's gonna go in this lap. And this swamp mouth, I do feel for you, pitting 1 lap before a safety car. Joe into the pits, and everyone who's not pitted will be in to the pits at the end of this lap. Mew in, Jerome in, Wacky, Corny, everyone will be into the pits at the end of this lap. There's no alternative here. And yeah, this now. Oh, Jerome Hodgson, 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's massive. That's gonna change the whole complexion of this race because Simmons nearly stacked it into the pit wall. Holy, that was very close. Okay, Joe is now going to be at a disadvantage on the tires for a few laps, but towards the end of this race, you would believe that those mediums are going to be the better race tire. Get Valkyrie on the hard component tires. He's going to have a front wing change there as well as Dablo into the pits as well. We're serving his time penalty, is he? I don't know actually why he was held up there. Maybe serving the time penalty, maybe not. Sammy again brought back into this race via the safety car onto a new set of mediums. Saving 2 sets of mediums for the race, so he will have another set to put on. But everyone should be aware of how to drive on the safety car. That's what you should be aware about. No matter when you race or where you race. Or what level you race at. That's the one thing that I hated the most when I started league racing back in F1 2021. I hated safety cars the most because I was so scared I was going to hit into someone. But nowadays it's just fine for me as Joe has gone. He's gone at the end of the straight, so this is exactly what I thought he would do. He's giving himself the most corners to pull off a second gap, and he's already almost a second ahead. Mew cannot let this happen. He cannot let Joe get a second ahead, and he will need to deploy his ERS like crazy. As here we go then. Boris gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. No one close enough to make moves just yet, but another person, the person we need to be watching out for is Steve. Oh, I was gonna say Sammy Joe, but Steve is going for the move, so maybe it's gonna be Stevie that we're all gonna have to watch out for as he taps Sammy. It's not gone well for the Frenchman, as Stevie does hit him with a bit of contact, and now Sammy back into the pack of Stevie, Nick, and Rab, as Sammy's gonna go down the inside of Nick. Nick is not going to leave that one easily. Oh, Sammy with the elbows out. Getting Nick off track as well, and we'll get back up into P14, sorry, and we'll not be overly happy with Stevie right now. We'll probably try to go for the move on Stevie as early as he possibly can. And Joe now 8/10 ahead, and we'll need more than that. He's not deploying his DRS at all, and Mew is staying within a second. DRS will be enabled on lap 15 because it's the wrong game for it to be enabled this lap. And Sammy now looking for the move on Stevie, and I believe he will make the move, or he will at least try the move. No, he's not. Well, never mind. But the person who might make the move is Nick on Sammy. Round the outside into turn 14. This is going to be brave for the Mercedes. Oh, a little bit of contact there between all three of them, and Nick stays with him all the way into the final corner and has forced himself a little bit wide there. Has Nicholas Fuhrman and to Jerome Hudson, who's in third. So Mew will be looking for a nailed on P2 here unless Joe makes a little mistake, which we haven't seen him do too often. Here goes Wacky Lauda on Jerome Hudson, the Alpine on the Mercedes. Sammy getting past Stevie Mack in the background as around the outside. tries to stay with Jerome Hudson. Wacky Louder up into the podium playing positions, but this fight between Stevie Boris and Sammy, they're gonna go 3 wide in the chicane all day. Or in the turn 14, and Sammy is the one on the inside, and Sammy's the one gaining all of those positions back. So well done for the Frenchman right there, and Dablo and Swampmouth in that train as well. Oh, get Valkyrie, that's risky. That's risky through sector 2. Simi has to back out of it, and get Valkyrie does get back. P6, Dablo picks up a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit violations. Simi will now have DRS for get Valkyrie, so he will be hoping to get back that position. He's over a second behind now, but he was under a second at the dissection zone. Dablo might be looking for a move on him though. It's Ferrari versus McLaren versus Ferrari today. Earlier on, it was an easy pass for the McLaren. Whoa, what's going on here? Wacky Louders has gone round. I think he's hit Jerome. I think they've made contact a little bit there. As Cornish Mantis is now up into the podium positions. I have completely missed that looking at the fight between Swampmouth, Dablo and Get Valkyrie. As Sim is down in P9 now. And Sammy very, very wide into the final corner and looking to get into P10 and into the points playing positions as here goes Sammy down the inside of Ecoid to do very, very close together, and Sammy does make that move stick. Oh, Swampmouth. Round in sector 3 and sector 2, sorry, and down into P12, and that's given Simi now P7. I think Dablo and Swampmouth must have made some contact, because now Simi 1.7 seconds up the road. That is a question everyone will be asking themselves. If DRS gets disabled, what then? Wacky Loud doesn't care, because DRS is enabled right now, and he's gonna go for the move into turn 14, and he's gonna have the move done before the braking zone of turn 14. As Sammy and Simi are very close to each other. Sammy and Simi. That sounds like a cruel team, man. Sammy just about over a second behind, running high downforce here. You can see Simi pulling away even when Sammy has DRS. Oh, Simi with a big snap though. Coming out of turn 14, Sammy with a bigger one. And look at how hard it's raining. Look at how hard it is for the drivers now to keep it on the track. This could be an absolutely incredible ending, as now everyone's going to be struggling on their slick tires. And this Stevie's in. Is this for Intes for Stevie? Is he going to go for the gamble from P10 to go for Intes to the last 2 laps of this race? It looks incredibly hard to drive.
Disconnected.
And this has to be for the Intes. This is for the Intes. Steve is in for the Intes. And who is joining the Discord? What? I'm so confused. Okay. Apparently no one joined the Discord. Apparently my Discord is just bugging. But look at how hard it is. Look at how wet it is. It's Intes. It's in the conditions, but there's 1 more lap to go. Surely you don't take that risk. Stevie's taking that risk because he has 2 laps to go, but he needs to drive it like an absolute maniac now. He's a pit stop behind, but he's already gaining. Look at how much he's gaining. 9.9 seconds to all day now. 9.8, 9.7. He's gaining so much. If it starts raining, if it keeps this rain up, it could even be worth the box for Intes. Joe, what call is he gonna make? Is he gonna stay out or is he gonna box? Mew could do the absolute opposite here and play this smart game. As DRS gets the table, it's intermediate conditions. Joe stays out, but Mew could take the gamble to box. Wacky Loud and Cornish Mantis crawling through that turn 14 to make their way onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. No one's going in. It's not worth it for now. It's not worth it for them, but it was worth it for Stevie Mac, who now needs to put his foot down because he's going to be the fastest out there by a long shot. Look at how hard it is for Joe. And it is very, very difficult to drive there. And Stevie closing in 3.8 the gap. He needs to drive it like a maniac. He could maybe get P7 in this race if he does manage everything perfectly. And look at how slow everyone is on the minimap. 3-second time penalty for Rapso for multiple track limit violations. Joe absolutely still dominating. 9.6 seconds to Mew. But look at how hard that Mercedes looks to drive. Look at how hard it's to drive. And Cornish Mantis and Wacky Loud are still side by side for this final podium position. And now Stevie already caught up to the back of All Day. Needs to make this move and needs to make the move now. He's gonna go down the inside. Look at how easy that is. And that's a beautiful call from Stevie Mac to go on the intermediates. He could be as far up as P7 in this race. He makes the move. Look at that. Stevie Mac, absolute brilliance on the intermediate compounded tires. Joe, though, still absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominating everybody. 11 seconds now. Mew struggling hard in these conditions as Cornish and Wacky still battle for the final podium position. Look at how slow everyone is on the minimap compared to Stevie Mac. That's a beautiful call for the intermediate tires for Stevie. Wacky Lauda now looks to get back past Cornish Mantis for the final podium position. This is going to be an incredibly difficult overtake to make in these conditions. He's deploying all of his ERS, so is Cornish. Cornish looks to be staying ahead. Wacky needs to be braver on the brakes, doesn't make the dive bomb. But Cornish is wide in the final corner. Cornish is very, very wide in third 14. And Wacky Lauda might just take it. Joe wins the race. I'm sorry, I'm missing that. But this battle for P3. Wacky gets whacked off the track. And now looks to be Cornish's. But anything can happen in this final corner. Wacky has got a 3-second time penalty for track limits as they head down to the line. And it's going to be Cornish Mantis for the penalty. And he's going to take P3. Sammy and Simi, look at that. It's impossible to drive that thing. Stevie might just look to get the point back that he pitted from P10. And maybe, just maybe, if there was another lap, he could do a little bit more. Sammy finishes P7. Simi comes home in P8. Dablo down in P9. But Stevie, good call on the Inters. Not quite worth it at the end. P10 for him. And with penalties gets dropped down into P11, sadly, for Stevie. Joe wins an absolute stormer of a race. That is absolutely incredible from Joe. Absolute dominance.